In the early days of New France, life was very different from today. The colony was far from Europe, and ships carrying supplies and money did not arrive often. Sometimes the ships were late or did not come at all, and this created a big problem for the people living there. They needed a way to buy and sell goods. Without official coins from France, the local economy could not function properly. The soldiers and government workers needed to be paid, and the merchants needed a way to conduct business. This shortage of currency was a constant challenge for the administrators of the colony. It forced them to find creative solutions to keep daily life moving forward. The solution they found was quite unusual. In 1685, the intendant of New France, Jacques de Merle, had a clever idea. He did not have any metal coins to pay the soldiers, so he decided to use something else that everyone had: playing cards. He took regular playing cards and cut them into different shapes or sizes. He wrote a specific value on each piece of card, and then he signed them himself to make them official. This was the birth of playing card money in Canada. It was a temporary measure, but it worked surprisingly well to solve the immediate cash shortage and keep the local economy from collapsing entirely. This playing card money was not meant to be permanent. It was a promise. The idea was that when the ships finally arrived from France with real coins, people could exchange their playing card money for actual silver and gold. The government guaranteed the value of these cards. People trusted this system because it was backed by the authority of the intendant. This trust was essential for the playing card money to be accepted in trade. For several decades, this unique form of currency appeared and disappeared in New France whenever there was a shortage of metal coins from the mother country. It was a cycle driven by the long and dangerous sea voyage. The use of playing card money shows how resourceful the early colonists were. They faced many difficulties in a new land, and they found practical ways to overcome them. This form of money is a fascinating part of Canada's economic history. It demonstrates that money is based on trust and agreement. As long as people believe something has value, it can be used for trade. The playing cards, signed by a government official, carried that trust. This system, born out of necessity, served the colony for many years. It remains one of the most interesting and unique chapters in the story of Canadian currency. After the 7 Years' War, New France became a British colony in 1763. This was a major change for the people living there. British rule brought new laws, new systems, and a new currency. The old French coins and playing card money slowly faded away. British pounds, shillings, and pence started to circulate. However, there was still a confusing mix of currencies in use. Spanish dollars, American coins, and British money were all used in daily transactions. This made trade very complicated. People had to constantly calculate the value of one type of coin against another. It was not an efficient system for a growing economy. The colonies that would one day become Canada needed a simpler system. The idea of a decimal currency, like the one used in the United States, became very popular. A decimal system is based on units of 10, 100, and 1000. This makes calculations much easier than the British system of pounds, shillings, and pence. In 1858, the province of Canada officially adopted a decimal system. The new currency was based on dollars and cents. This decision was very important. It aligned Canada's currency with its largest trading partner, the United States. It also made financial transactions much simpler for everyone. The transition to the new decimal system was gradual. The government began issuing new coins with dollar and cent values. These first Canadian coins included 1 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, and 20-cent pieces. The designs often featured Queen Victoria on the front, which is called the obverse. The back, or reverse, of the coins showed wreaths of maple leaves. The maple leaf was already becoming a symbol of Canada. These new coins helped to create a distinct Canadian identity. People started to think in terms of dollars and cents, leaving the old, complicated systems behind for good. This change was a pivotal moment in Canadian history. It was a step towards economic independence and national unity. Having a single, simple currency made it easier for the different provinces to trade with each other. It helped to build a stronger, more unified economy across British North America. The adoption of the decimal system was a practical decision that had a deep impact. It laid the foundation for the modern Canadian monetary system we know today. It was a clear sign that Canada was developing its own path, separate from both Britain and France. For many years, Canada did not produce its own coins. Even after adopting the decimal system, the country relied on mints in Britain to make its currency. The coins were designed for Canada, but they were physically made overseas at places like the Royal Mint in London. This process was slow and expensive. Shipping heavy coins across the Atlantic Ocean was not ideal. As Canada grew and its economy expanded, the need for a domestic mint became more and more obvious. Leaders began to call for a Canadian facility that could produce all of the nation's coinage right here at home. The push for a Canadian mint gained momentum in the late 19th century. Finally, in 1908, the Ottawa branch of Britain's Royal Mint officially opened its doors. This was a very proud moment for the young country. The Governor-General, Lord Grey, struck the very first coin made on Canadian soil, a silver 50-cent piece. The opening of the mint was a symbol of Canada's growing independence and self-sufficiency. The country could now control the production of its own money. This gave Canada more power over its economy and was a significant step in its journey from a colony to a nation. The building itself, located on Sussex Drive in Ottawa, is a historic landmark. It was designed to look like a castle, showing the strength and importance of the institution. For the first few decades, the Ottawa Mint produced coins for Canada and also refined gold from the Canadian North. During World War I, it played a crucial role in storing Britain's gold reserves, keeping them safe from the conflict in Europe. The mint was not just a factory for making coins, it was a key part of the national infrastructure. It helped to secure the country's wealth and financial stability during uncertain times. In 1931, the facility was officially transferred from British to Canadian control and was renamed the Royal Canadian Mint. This was another important step in Canada's journey to full independence. The mint continued to grow and innovate over the years. In the 1970s, a second facility was opened in Winnipeg to handle the production of all of Canada's circulation coins. The Ottawa Mint now focuses on producing collector coins, bullion, and medals. The creation of the Royal Canadian Mint was essential for Canada. It provided monetary independence and became a world leader in minting technology. For the first few decades of the Royal Canadian Mint's operation, the designs on the coins did not change very much. Most coins featured a portrait of the reigning British monarch on the obverse side. The reverse side typically showed maple leaves or the Canadian coat of arms. While these were important symbols, many felt that the coins did not fully represent the unique character of Canada. People wanted designs that reflected the country's vast wilderness and its diverse wildlife. The accession of King George VI to the throne in 1936 provided the perfect opportunity to introduce a fresh set of coin designs. The government decided to create a whole new series of reverse designs for 1937. They wanted to capture the spirit of Canada. A competition was held, and an artist named George Kruger Gray was chosen to create the new images. His designs were a celebration of Canadian nature. The 1-cent coin featured a maple leaf twig, a classic symbol. The 5-cent coin, however, showcased a beaver sitting on a log. The 10-cent coin featured the famous blue-nose schooner, a symbol of Canada's maritime heritage. These new designs were instantly popular with the Canadian public. The larger denomination coins also received new wildlife themes. The 25-cent coin was given a majestic caribou, representing the Canadian North. The 50-cent coin displayed the Canadian coat of arms, maintaining a link to tradition and national authority. These designs were modern, clean, and distinctly Canadian. They moved away from the more formal European styles of the past. For the first time, Canada's coins told a story about the country itself. They depicted the animals and symbols that people associated with the vast Canadian landscape, from the forest to the northern tundra. These 1937 designs were so successful and beloved that they have remained on Canada's coins for decades. With only a few exceptions for special occasions, the beaver, the blue nose, and the caribou are still on our coins today. They have become iconic symbols of Canada, recognized around the world. This series marked a major turning point in Canadian numismatic art. It established a tradition of using wildlife and nature to represent the national identity. The 1937 coin series proved that money could be more than just a tool for commerce. It could also be a source of national pride. Section 5. Celebrating a century. The 1967 Centennial Coins. The year 1967 was a very special time for Canada. You see, It was the 100th anniversary of Confederation, the year Canada officially became a country. To mark this important milestone, the government planned a nationwide celebration called Expo 67, which was held in Montreal. As part of the festivities, the Royal Canadian Mint decided to issue a special set of commemorative coins. This was quite a big deal because, until then, the standard wildlife designs from 1937 had been used every year. A new set of coins for just 1 year would be a unique way to celebrate Canada's centennial. The Mint held a competition to find the designs for the 1967 coins. The winning artist was Alex Colville, a famous Canadian painter. Colville's designs were simple, elegant, and full of meaning. He chose to feature Canadian wildlife, but in a more modern and dynamic style than the 1937 series. Each coin depicted a different animal, representing the natural heritage of the country. The 1-cent coin showed a rock dove in flight. The 5-cent coin featured a hopping rabbit. The 10-cent coin had a mackerel, and the 25-cent coin showed a sleek bobcat. These images were full of life and movement. The larger coins in the series were also very impressive. The 50-cent piece featured a howling wolf, a powerful symbol of the Canadian wilderness. The silver dollar, the largest coin, showed a Canada goose in graceful flight. All the coins also included the dates 1867 to 1967 to mark the centennial. These coins were released into circulation for everyone to use. Canadians across the country were excited to find these special designs in their change. Collecting a full set of the centennial coins became a popular hobby for both children and adults during that celebratory year. The 1967 centennial coins were a huge success. They captured the optimism and pride that Canadians felt during their country's 100th birthday. The designs by Alex Colville are still considered classics of Canadian coin art. They set a new standard for commemorative currency in Canada. The project showed that coins could be used to celebrate important national events and share a sense of collective identity. The Centennial series remains one of the most popular and beloved sets of coins ever produced by the Royal Canadian Mint, a beautiful metallic tribute to Canada's first century. For most of its history, Canadian coinage contained a high percentage of real silver. Dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins were made of 80% silver for many decades. This meant that the coins had intrinsic value. The metal in the coin was worth money on its own, separate from its face value as currency. People liked silver coins because they felt substantial and real. They were a tangible store of wealth. However, by the mid-1960s, the price of silver on the world market began to rise dramatically. This created a serious problem for the Canadian government and its currency system. As the price of silver went up, the value of the metal in the coin soon became greater than their face value. For example, the silver in a 25-cent coin became worth more than 25 cents. This led to a situation where people started hoarding the coins. They would melt them down and sell the silver for a profit. This was illegal, but it was happening more and more. As a result, silver coins began to disappear from circulation. The country was facing a major coin shortage, which made it difficult for businesses to make change and for the economy to function smoothly. The government had to act quickly. In 1967 and 1968, the Royal Canadian Mint began a transition. First, they reduced the silver content in the coins from 80% to 50%. This was a temporary measure to save costs while they prepared for a bigger change. Then, in the middle of 1968, the Mint stopped using silver altogether for dimes and quarters. They switched to a new material, pure nickel. Nickel was much cheaper and more stable in price than silver. This meant the coins would no longer be worth more than their face value. The problem of hoarding and melting was solved. The switch from silver to nickel marked the end of an era for Canadian money. It was a practical necessity driven by global economics. While some people were sad to see the silver coins go, the change was essential to maintain a stable currency supply. The new nickel coins were durable and served their purpose well. This transition also changed coin collecting. Pre-1968 silver coins became highly sought after by collectors, not just for their designs, but for their precious metal content. This change fundamentally altered the nature of Canadian pocket change, moving from precious metal to practical, modern alloys. By the 1980s, the Canadian $1 bill was becoming a problem. Paper money does not last very long. The average $1 bill would wear out and need to be replaced in less than a year. This was very expensive for the government. Printing millions of new dollar bills every year cost a lot of money. The government started looking for a more durable and cost-effective alternative. They decided to replace the $1 bill with a new $1 coin. A coin could last for 20 years or more, making it a much cheaper option in the long run, even though it cost more to produce initially. The plan was to introduce a new dollar coin in 1987. The design was supposed to feature the famous Voyager image that had appeared on silver dollars in the past. This image showed a Voyager and an indigenous person paddling a canoe. However, something went wrong. The master dies used to make the coins, which had the Voyager design on them, were lost or stolen while being transported from Ottawa to the mint in Winnipeg. This was a major security risk. If counterfeiters got the dies, they could make perfect fake coins. To be safe, the government had to scrap the Voyager design completely. A new design was needed immediately. The mint chose a simple but elegant image of a common loon floating on water. This design had been a candidate for the dollar coin, but was not the first choice. With the Voyager dies gone, it was quickly put into production. The new 11-sided gold-colored coin was released in 1987. Canadians quickly nicknamed it the loonie because of the bird on its reverse side. At first, some people did not like the heavy coin, but they soon got used to it. The loonie became very popular and is now a famous Canadian symbol. A few years later, the government decided to do the same thing with the $2 bill. The $2 bill also had a short lifespan and was expensive to replace. In 1996, the Royal Canadian Mint introduced a new $2 coin. This coin was unique because it was bimetallic. It had a silver-colored outer ring made of nickel and a gold-colored inner core made of a bronze alloy. The design featured a polar bear, another iconic Canadian animal. Following the tradition of the loonie, Canadians quickly nicknamed the new coin the toonie. The successful introduction of the loonie and toonie changed Canadian currency forever. The Royal Canadian Mint has always been a leader in creating new and interesting coins. In the 21st century, it became famous for its technological innovations. One of the most exciting developments was the introduction of colored coins into circulation. This was a world first. In 2004, the Mint released a special 25-cent coin to raise awareness for veterans. The coin featured a red poppy in the center. The poppy is a powerful symbol of remembrance. The splash of color made the coin stand out and captured the attention of the entire country. The red poppy coin was a huge success. It showed that adding color to coins could make them more beautiful and meaningful. The Mint developed a special process to apply color to the metal in a way that was very durable. The color would not rub off easily, even with everyday use. Following the poppy coin, the Mint released other colored coins into circulation. In 2006, another 25-cent piece was issued to support the fight against breast cancer. It featured the iconic pink ribbon. These coins were not just for collecting, they were used in daily transactions, spreading their important messages. Beyond color, the Mint has explored other amazing technologies. They have created coins that glow in the dark. A $2 coin celebrating Canada's 150th anniversary in 2017 had a design of the Northern Lights that would glow when taken into a dark room. The Mint has also experimented with different coin shapes, special security features, and even coins with holograms. These innovations are often used for collector coins, which are sold to people around the world. These special coins showcase Canadian art and history, and they have won many international awards for their quality and creativity. These modern innovations show how the Royal Canadian Mint continues to push the boundaries of what a coin can be. It is no longer just a simple piece of metal with a value stamped on it. Coins have become miniature works of art. They can tell stories, celebrate national pride, and even support important causes. By using technology like color and glow-in-the-dark features, the Mint keeps Canadian currency fresh and exciting. It ensures that our coins are not only practical tools for the economy, but also beautiful objects that reflect a modern and innovative Canada. For over 70 years, the face of Queen Elizabeth II appeared on every Canadian circulation coin. She became queen in 1952, and since then, her portrait has been a constant and familiar presence in the pockets and purses of Canadians. 4 different official portraits, or effigies, of the Queen were used on Canadian coins during her long reign. These portraits showed her at different stages of her life, From a young monarch in the 1950s to the mature and respected figure she became. For generations of Canadians, her image was synonymous with our money. The death of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022 marked the end of a major era for the Commonwealth and for Canadian currency. With her passing, her son became King Charles III. This meant that for the first time in 7 decades, a new monarch's face would need to appear on Canadian coins. By tradition, the portrait of the reigning monarch is featured on the obverse side of all our coins. The Royal Canadian Mint had to begin the process of creating a new effigy for the new king. This was a historic and significant task. The Canadian government announced a competition to select a Canadian artist to design the new portrait of King Charles III. After reviewing many submissions, a design by artist Stephen Rosati was chosen. The new effigy shows King Charles III in profile, facing left. This follows a long-standing tradition where the new monarch faces the opposite direction of their predecessor. Queen Elizabeth II's portraits always faced right. This practice dates back centuries in British and Commonwealth coinage. The new design was approved by Buckingham Palace before being prepared for striking onto coins. In late 2023, the Royal Canadian Mint unveiled the new design and began producing the first coins featuring King Charles III. These coins started to enter circulation, gradually replacing the older coins with Queen Elizabeth II's portrait.